wants to come and talk about chicken?
It's the only thing they want to talk about.
Just wait till we get to the new apartment complex.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Pat. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Why? I'm working on it. Calling the meeting to order. I'll leave the attendance on your desk, Lori. First, public comments. Seeing none. Moving to approval of minutes from November 20th, 2023. Get a motion?
Go ahead.
Lori?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving right along. Controlled burn, number 4, Ryan.
No different than any of the other years, just allowing us to do controlled burns in the park as we see necessary. Cuts down on some of the overgrowth. Just like every other year, NERCOM gets called, PD gets called, fire department gets called.
Recommend approval to city council.
Scott? Second?
I'll second.
Lori? Thank you, Lori. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Budget discussion. This is the flavor of the day. So I don't know how you want to approach this, Ryan, but lead on.
What do you want me to open?
24, 25. And then parks working.
This one?
We'll need that one and the parks working.
Okay.
Okay. Did everybody get this when I sent it out? When did I send it out? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, something's wrong with my Excel, so it doesn't work. It flips it, and I can't read
okay.
it, so. No, it's fine.
So the bright yellow ones are the ones that we have to go through and verify numbers, just to make sure everything's kosher with that. And then on the expense side, I did put in the required stuff, you know, our general maintenance for operation. You can see that in purple and in the yellow. The purple one has, if you go to the other slide, or the other, those are all, the purple ones are all budgeted into those numbers within those line items already. So the must-haves are everything that is already in the budget. We have our needs and our wants. And then you can see in the red, we have very near future must-dos that we're going to have to really start looking into and figuring out what all needs to be done and how we're going to get those done.
Okay,
Do you want to go line by line, Jay?
sure, rock and roll.
Or how do you wanna
Property
do it?
tax, I guess we start on property tax right at the top. I mean, Deb, are we expecting that type of growth?
Yeah, that's a little lower than what we levied, Alderman, but we always project that conservatively. So if we
Okay.
get more good, if not, you can see from the green column to the left, that 262, 456 is the final number of what we collected this year. We only budgeted 250. It was a little low on that, I think, last year, so I did bump it up a little bit this year, but we're still under what we're gonna levy. So in case somebody doesn't pay, we're still covered.
Are we collecting tax now from Culvers?
No.
Yeah, we're not. This year we should, though,
It
right?
should, that should be, that's next year.
I don't know when it went on the rolls.
I'll have to check that.
So 4 years.
That might have been last year. That might have been last year. Believe it or not.
I'm just curious, I'm sorry, yeah.
How long, and I don't know, that's why I'm asking, how long is it before we can collect? Why?
So that business applied for enterprise zone benefits, And enterprise zone benefits provide an 8-year tax abatement for property tax. The first 4 years is at 100%, and then it reduces 25% over the next 4 years. So the city would, all the taxing bodies would share 25%, then 50, then 75, and then finally to 100.
Okay, thank you. Is that what we're doing with Dunkin' Donuts? Do we know?
I believe, yes, I believe
Yes.
Duncan applied for enterprise zone benefits.
Well, we don't approve enterprise zone, that's a different body, right?
Correct, enterprise zone approves
We just get
that.
notified that they're.
Correct, so in order to, first off, they have to be eligible, and then they have to apply. There is a fee to apply, and sometimes it may or may not make sense depending upon what benefits that they expect to get when they do apply. But if they meet the requirements and they apply, they get it. I mean, it's kind of automatically approved, assuming they meet the eligibility requirements.
Building permits. So, no, we have any waivers in there? I mean,
No, the money that we've collected this current fiscal year was unexpected, but that was based on the building permits for Tamaz and
Foxtail.
Foxtail. The Foxtail is waived, a portion of it's waived, but we do not waive the parks portion of those building permits, so they're 100%.
okay,
So I speculated that one around $4,000, kind of based on where I think we're going to be at the end of this fiscal. We might get more, hopefully we will get more, but I don't want to go too high on that either in the event that we don't.
that's fine. Any questions? Amusement tax, pretty standard,
Yep, that's majority milk day
okay,
vendors.
got it. All right, Ryan, daily passes pool,
Yeah, we're hoping to see the same numbers that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. It seems like the daily passes have stayed the same, but the season passes has dropped off pretty significantly. I don't know how to attribute anything to that, but it's good to
For hot weather and get more daily passes.
yeah. But at the end of the day, the daily passes actually do more good sometimes on the budget
Yeah.
side of things, so.
You make more money from a daily pass than you do
Yeah.
from a season pass.
So we're hoping to be right in that $27,000 range, which has been pretty standard over the last couple of years. We had the year coming off of COVID that we did pretty darn good for everything, but
You know, a lot of people put pools in during COVID
that's
too.
true.
Yeah.
So that would affect it.
Deb, can you move that mic closer to you?
Is it working?
It
Doesn't
is
sound
working,
like
it
it's
just-
working.
Thank you.
season passes then, pretty,
Same thing, 11,000. I kind of matched it off of this year that we had, and
Yeah.
hoping that it's more.
okay,
So last year you budgeted 18 and only sold 11.8.
Mhm.
So this year you're seeking to budget 11.
Just play it safe on that. And then for swim lessons, you can see the last several years we haven't had swim lessons. That's right around the revenue that was generated this year from swim lessons. So at minimum, hopefully we'll keep that. If I can.
Why do we not show any current revenue?
You didn't have them?
we did have them this year.
Yeah, I think it was I think it's in park programs.
Oh, all right.
It might be, I don't know.
We did have swim lessons this year?
Yeah.
Yes,
We did. We added
Got
them,
that.
we added them last minute.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be in park programs?
Yeah, because I think it was all that online registration,
Oh, yep, you're
and that
right.
would be why.
Yep, yes, I remember we talked about that, and it was we'd already started putting them in there, so
Mhm.
that's where it's at.
For this, just this year.
So we're doing it again next year, I'll make sure to remind me to split that
And what
out.
line did that go into?
It went
It went
into park
into-
programs.
yeah.
So it went into the second to the last,
Down here,
13,833.
this number?
Okay,
13,833, okay.
all right, that makes sense.
And the yellow designates,
It's just one that I needed to fill in because we weren't sure, or Deb wasn't sure when she sent it out.
The dark yellow?
yes.
Yeah, we have to fill that in.
Okay, so, party rental, we did $3,000 last year.
Yeah, party rentals are very hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to get a metric on. Budgeting low and hoping for more.
2,000 seems reasonable.
Yeah, we did 3,000, we did 3,000 this year, but, 20.
Budgeted 2, you did 3, and the previous year you budgeted 15, you did 23. Year before you budgeted 25, and it was only 16, so
Yeah.
it seems like 2,000 is a fair number.
Brian, can we go back to swim lessons a minute? We didn't budget for those because we didn't decide to do those till after.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we didn't make that decision till June, I think, or,
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And we didn't do them at all the year before, correct?
no, wait, or maybe it was May we made that decision.
Okay, all right.
No, we haven't done them since before COVID, because we
Okay.
came off
Yeah.
COVID and we were talking about doing it, but then between the training all the new staff and the staffing issues that we were having, we scrapped swim lessons.
Concessions, that's pretty
Yep, pretty standard across the board.
standard.
That number might actually go up a little bit on the revenue side of things, just because I don't have our costs yet on what the product is.
Yeah, they've gone up.
But then our cost, if our revenue goes up, it's because our costs went up.
Yep.
Donations.
Well, I was gonna ask, presumably we maintain a certain margin.
Yep.
Over what we pay,
Yep.
right? Okay.
There's certain items that we don't make a lot on, like airheads and stuff like that, but kind of my rule of thumb is I want to at least make 50% on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are closer to that 70, 75%, some of them are 43, 42, so.
Donations, is that basically the money to support the basketball program that we received in this year?
I hope so. Or anything else that we
No, I
can
mean,
get donated
the
for.
$7,600.
Yeah, 76.25, so that is the donation for basketball, as well as, is that including the eggnog jog and?
That's the that's the $5,000 from USMG.
Yep, $5,000 from USMG, Brown Bear.
Yep.
Jay and Kelly, Harvard State Bank, and then is the $350 from Burke in there? For
Yes,
eggnog?
everything should be in
Okay.
there that we've received
I
to
wasn't
date
sure if
through
it went
today.
into that one or park programs.
Ryan, real quick on the 5,000, is that something you're going to be going out to look for every year? Or is that just for this next coming year?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I'm hoping that I don't have to go out and seek it every year, because that means the school district will allow us to just use it for free.
Okay. But that's not just one person, one particular business you're going to be,
Yeah, it'll
Okay.
be numerous businesses.
Interest? Where's that coming from? Is that coming from our
that comes from our money market account.
money market account? What do we have in that right now?
That is at 75 right now.
Transfer in, is that NISRA?
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta go back to miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, go ahead.
So in the past, miscellaneous was kind of, I don't even really know what went in there. To be honest, that Dave kind of just would throw stuff in every once in a while. I did know we did have some donations that went into the miscellaneous fund at one point. But we budgeted 500 last year. And
Did you ever do,
nothing came through in that, so.
Did you ever scrap anything or take anything to auction from your department? Do you really do any of that?
No, not really. We'll send a couple of things here and there.
That might be where some of it came from in the past, if Daryl was scrapping anything.
I don't think
or-
we have anything that's planning on going to auction this year.
Okay.
Don't you have some stuff in the shed behind wastewater treatment plant?
That's not parks, though.
So
That's not parks?
No.
No, the only things that most of the time, we don't send a lot of the big ticket items to auction. We'll trade them in. Our mowers and stuff like that. We could leave it,
So do you want to leave that at 0 or throw 500 in it just to have something in it?
if we leave it at 0, if
And
we
if we get
budget
any-
500 and leave it at 0, then we're gonna be 500 short potentially somewhere. But if we leave it at 0 and we get 500, then it's a bonus.
Just leave it at 0 and we'll.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Because Because I don't expect we're gonna get anything this year.
No, I don't think we do. Transfer in, yeah, that's Nizra. Rental payments, that would be park shelters. Hopefully we'll. And then park programs, this is one that we're gonna have to figure out, as a group. Revenue side of things is gonna be determining factor on, what our expenses is when it comes to purchasing equipment or anything that we need to do with that.
Do we have an idea?
And that one might not be able to be, we might be able to figure out what we want to spend for park programs tonight, and then tomorrow I can try and figure out exactly what that revenue would be generated from that.
We can look tomorrow, Ryan, too, at that. I'll look at that a little closer and see exactly how much of that is from the programs you've been doing recently versus what we put in there from the swimming lessons.
Yeah, so this would
That's what I was
be-
thinking, take the number, the year-to-date number and take off the swim lessons.
Move it around a little
Just
bit.
leaves it
Do
about
we have a
6,000.
breakdown of what the 13,833, how much of that is
That's what
attributed
we were
to
just
swim?
talking about looking at tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so that number should either reflect the 4,000 that we've stuck in there, or close to that approximation.
Yeah.
And then, the 5,000 in park programs, I mean, that was based on, in the previous years, on the very limited programming we had, planning to do. What we don't know is with the programming that we're trying to incorporate in this new year, what the fee structures will be for that, or what the participation will be. So I would err on the side of caution, but it should be more than what we had budgeted previously, considering that we're planning to do more programming.
Just in the basketball, assuming with the basketball program alone, looks like in the years past, you've pulled at least 5,200 in. I think it'd be safe to at least plug a number in for today, if that's the urgency of at least 5,000. You're consistently hitting that mark.
Do you have an idea how much you did in swim lessons? Roughly. Because the rest of it would be basketball and then whatever those new programs are, basically.
basketball, Limberlife, Zumba. Not sure if water aerobics went in there or not.
I'm thinking 8 of it was park programs for some reason. I don't know why I'm thinking that.
And we would have had CPR class, would have been eggnog jog, would have went in there.
Is it unreasonable to think that you can do 3,000 more in revenue than you did in a year when we didn't have any additional programming?
I don't think so.
So would 8,000 be a fair number to start with?
I would think so.
Yeah, and we move the swim lesson stuff up.
Yeah.
Out, separate that out for this actual document. But yeah,
I don't think I have. Are you doing it on yours? Because I don't have edit.
Yeah, I can do it on mine. So we're doing
8,000?
for park program.
I can run and pull a report real quick when you guys are discussing some other things.
So you've got,
Get a more
between
accurate
this
number.
line and the swim lessons, you'd have 12 grand, and we already did almost 14 this year.
Right.
So that seems like a pretty reasonable.
8, I think, should be okay.
Yeah.
If anything, if the revenue is on the low end, it's also something to be striving for
Mhm.
as far as rec programs.
Yeah.
Salaries. That's you and,
Me and all the part-timers. And then, I got another, let me just make sure Daryl's a quarter still in there?
No, Daryl's out.
Daryl's out.
Yep.
So that's just me and half of me, and then the
Is that
rest.
why the
Yes.
total
Yeah.
dropped so much? Okay.
Yeah,
So everyone's aware, earlier this year, we did a little bit of reorganizing. So Daryl, instead of having to answer to 2 different departments, what we did is we just said Daryl's now answering to the street department, since he does bulk of the work through the street department.
Is he still gonna help Ryan?
He does, yes. He still has, does park maintenance and so on. But it's easier to just align him with one person to
As
do
far
the
as
organizing.
salary.
Right, and so all that expense and all that salary went over to the street department.
'Cause I see him still, well, not real recently, but just fairly recently running a lawnmower around.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he's technically still park maintenance
Yeah,
during the
right.
season, and then in
Yeah.
the winter seasons, he helps out Public Works anyway.
Yeah.
But he was only taking up a quarter of that salary in the Parks Fund, and it just made more sense because we're trying to get the parks back on their feet, and with the reorganization that we put him in Public Works.
So you help the bottom line of the parks budget by removing that expense.
His part-timers are still in there, though.
So it's half Ryan and half Daryl?
Half Ryan and the part-timers,
Part-
And no Daryl.
And no Daryl.
and no Daryl.
Health insurance, that's just you then?
Half.
Well, yeah.
Half?
Right,
Half and
half's
then
in parks and then the
half's
other
in-
half will
Yep,
be in the pool.
no, I get it.
So, this top area from here to here is just parks, and then we'll get into.
We'll drop into pool in a
public
minute,
pool
yeah.
expenses. Okay?
You have training planned?
Yeah, I would like to do some additional training. There's always more to learn. It's
Yeah,
never,
yeah.
it's never a
You
bad
should
thing
have
to.
some in there.
And then part of that, I'm trying to think, my lifeguard instructor expires March of '25. So that'll be included as, I wasn't sure how to do it because I use my LGI to teach Red Cross classes, which we do that under park programs, but I also use it for the pool. So we could split it, just take it straight out of the pool training one, however we want to do it.
And in the training, you're including the certified public pool operator?
That's on this fiscal year.
Okay.
Yep.
Maintenance, you got 10K there.
Yeah, so that's just our general maintenance. Daryl's always requested right around $10,000 for general park maintenance. It's one of those things that we hope we never have to use at all.
Oh, we always do.
Hopefully not. You can see we're already at 12.8, but that's, the 10 is just for the general park maintenance, not including any additional things that we would want to put in there for the year.
So this number that you budgeted 25 for in the current year, that we're at 12, have used so far, what additional 15K was that above the 10?
Pull it up real quick. And
So did that maintenance include
It's-
something specific?
it's on my flash drive.
Oh, do I need to go to this?
Last year's budget is on that flash drive. Go back.
Sorry.
Well, every year he's budgeted like 30K.
That's the entire file.
This one?
Da.
This one.
It would be,
This is a bigger file.
the revised one.
This one?
Yeah, I believe it's in there, because that should have all of the, yep. It's got all the notes in there.
Oh, here you go. So you had 6K in mulch.
Yep.
5 trim treating.
Yeah, so the
And-
Park Point Path, that one's already been not started. Pile Gravel has already been notified. They're probably going to start March, is what they're hoping for. Tree trimming, we still have to get that done. It's a wintertime project for some of the oak trees. So power is going to be hopefully starting that in January, February. You want to hit those when they're the absolute coldest. And then $6,000 for mulch. That one is actually, we were able to squeeze some of the mulching this year with residual money from last year's fiscal year budget. So we do have a little bit of surplus on that. It's about half of that.
So in addition to the, 11 or 12 that we show through this year, you're still gonna have the tree trimming and the,
Park Point.
Park Point.
Yep.
Added to that, that's gonna bring you up pretty close to your.
Yep.
Budget number, okay.
Why don't you budget then, the budget number same way for next year, why you make it 10?
Well, so the 10 is just the maintenance side of things, not any additional things that the park board
We
wants
need
to
to decide on
accomplish.
the other things, correct?
Correct.
So can we go to Ryan's list of,
So this page, John, would be the stuff that we could add into.
Okay, so
That first
10's just the start.
10's just the bare minimum starting point.
all right, so you got tree trimming in Lions Park, and Ryan, you
Yep.
and I have talked about that. Is it, so it's possible we do like half of it this year and half of it next year, right? You just need to get the stuff in the pool done first, for sure.
Yeah, the stuff in the pool, but that's budgeted through the pool maintenance in the needs. So
Okay.
I have that under the pool maintenance. And then
Right here.
on that second, so you got one, or must-have needs, all the way down at the bottom, it says tree trimming pool. Yep. So that would be under pool maintenance, which it says 40, but it's really 04. So Lions Park in particular, I mean, there's tons of trees in there. We could put 10 grand into tree trimming in that park every single year. The last time we did it, I believe, was 2019-20.
Yeah.
Was the last time we were in there trimming everything. And that's when we did Lions Park and Mary's Park. And then we had the big one at Boys Field that came down as well. It's something that, you never know exactly how hard the winter's going to be on it, but it's definitely something that, it's a safety thing as well. We want to make sure that there's no widow makers and keep things trimmed up as nicely as we possibly can. We could do, however much you want to allocate towards it for this year, and then plan on doing the the rest of it next year, or just continuous maintenance. That's pretty much what it is. It's not just a one and done. It's just a continuous maintenance side of things.
Well, how much do we need for the mulch? Where do we have to mulch this year?
Our mulching is actually pretty good. The new way that we've done it has held up really, really,
Yeah.
really well.
I agree.
I don't think it's really in need of any this year. And if we do, we'll take a look at it and,
Hold on, so we've mulched everything in the past couple of years then?
yep.
Okay.
So what I'll do is, I was kind of planning on, if we have some residual money left over from this fiscal year, is utilizing that to do the same thing. Is just fill in some of the areas that we need to. And not plan on mulching anything this year, or this upcoming fiscal year.
All right, so under 55-120,
Park maintenance, yep.
you've got the Lions Park tree trimming.
Yep.
For 15. And that's all you've got. And
For-
if we
for the
plug
maintenance
that
side.
into your spreadsheet, then we're back to the same budget as this year, aren't we?
Yeah.
Would be.
So we can do that.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
So you want to increase this to 25?
Yeah.
Or did we,
I
hold on, so from a maintenance perspective, can we go back to the other sheet?
Certainly.
So just to throw this out there, we're doing pretty good on the maintenance side of things. We're trying to keep up as much as we possibly can with everything. But we're getting to the point to where maintenance isn't cutting it anymore. We need to start looking at replacements.
Okay.
And if you can see, there's a lot of new equipment and infrastructure that's listed.
I'd recommend putting 5K into tree trimming and allocating 10K towards something new.
Well, why don't we finish what we started here with this dog park? I mean, because we talked about that, the shelter out there needs
Need some love.
TLC, so you could do 7,000, because to me, that's maintenance, it's not, there's no new equipment there.
Well, it'd be a new roof. That's why it's put under infrastructure as well.
To me, that's maintenance, but, okay.
What are you adding to that, 15?
So I would say if you took, 7,000 for tree trimming and 8,000 for, dog park, there's your 15 grand right there.
So you're saying just do the
That's-
dog
that's
park
my
under
thought.
maintenance?
You what?
So just do the shelter at Milky Way West, dog
Yeah.
park shelter, just do all of that under general, or maintenance side.
Yeah, unless you don't want to bill it that way, Deb,
That's fine.
Doesn't matter. Figure it out.
So
it's
you're
really,
taking-
I get it's new roof, but it's also new paint, but it's maintenance to the building.
Yeah, well, the big thing is, it says new
Or
equipment
stain.
and infrastructure.
Yeah.
Call it infrastructure.
That's,
So you're talking about 5512, the maintenance line item?
so the topic was, we're at 10K right now for general park maintenance for the fiscal
Right.
year. Taking the 15,000 for tree trimming and put it in there, but then the discussions come up that, well, why don't we put 7,000 into tree trimming Lions Park and then finish the shelter at Milky Way at 8,000, and that's our 15,
And that's the dog park shelter.
correct?
Or, Ryan, hold on, I apologize, because you had, in your,
Well, that was my question.
in your document here, it says, her shelter garage repairs, right?
Yep.
I mean, pool roof, pool painting, which we know we're gonna have to budget for, probably next year, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting very close to these, these must-dos. I
The
mean,
pool's in a different line item, though.
yeah,
Yeah, right, I
you
get
know,
it.
Mary's Park
But
Playground.
her shelter is not. And that, to me,
Correct.
that is maintenance. Her shelter garage repairs, it's repairing. That's a general maintenance thing.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, going back to when we reviewed all the parks, went through, I took pictures of everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rot on that.
Yeah.
On that garage that needs to be addressed at some point.
Do we have any idea what the cost on that is? Or
I do
is it
not.
something that we just figure, okay, next year we budget it? You know what I'm saying?
Actually, Rosa has.
Yeah, Rose, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was wondering where you were getting the 8,000 from. So you're taking it out of the Lions Park tree trimming and putting it. That's
Correct.
what I was
So
wondering.
just do $7,000 for tree trimming and then $8,000 for that dog shelter.
You're saying reduce this to 7?
Yep.
And then
And
this
move that to
8,000,
50,
5512.
120.
So if we go back to the actual budget line here,
Make it 25.
5512,
Yeah, that's,
make that
goes right back to
25.
to 25, of which 10 is general, 7 is trees, 8 is dog park shelter.
If you go ahead and type that in, Mayor, you'll be able to,
I don't have,
oh, you can't do it.
Ryan does.
I don't have access on this.
I gotcha.
Ryan, what's, in your eyes, the HERS garage or the dog park shelter,
Oh, it does let me
what
do it.
would you
right.
like to see done? What's more important?
Both.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can't do both, right?
Well, you
You
might
know-
be able to.
They both have, pros and cons to both. Both are extremely utilized now. With the dog park, that's something that we knew the knowledge last year that, hey, we're gonna, circle in or fence off that shelter with planning on doing it this current fiscal year. The shelter and the garage at the HERS is something that, has been known about. It's, brought up every single year in the Parks Master Improvement that we want to do.
What was the cost again, roughly?
For what?
Did you say, I'm sorry, I missed it if you said.
No, we
the
don't
estimate.
have one yet for the shelter, or for the garage.
What is
It could be quite quite a bit though.
So what are the repairs though? Like, I guess I'd like to know, what are you thinking for the HERS garage and shelter, and what are you thinking for the shelter at the dog park? What would we be repairing?
So for the dog park, it would be total new roof, full stain, and then ideally what I would like to do is close off the rafters to keep the birds out of it, and then it does need all new fascia and soffit. So
And how about the HERS?
hers is, the garage is the worst of the two, for sure. There is a lot of rot underneath that soffit and that fascia that needs to be addressed. There's siding that's rotting out that needs to be addressed. It needs to be stained, and at some point, it's gonna need a new roof too. Same with the shelter itself.
That's just the garage?
It's the garage, majority of it's the garage, but the shelter will be needing a new roof at some point.
Oh, it's got a lot of dry rot too throughout
Yeah. It's not nearly as bad as the garage is, but it's definitely, neither one of them are good by any means, so.
Mayor, while you have that up, can we go back up to the revenue, and plug in? So for pool passes this year, we did 5,275. And for park programs, it was the remainder of the 8,558 for the basketball and the other miscellaneous programs that you
Those
started.
swimming lessons, you mean?
I'm sorry, yes, swimming lessons, I'm sorry.
So what do you want here?
Well, that would have been, just for, to show on the screen, 5,275.
Okay.
And then the park programs would be
Because less-
8,558.
How much?
8,558. Yes, so you could put in, if you thought your swimming lessons were gonna do the same or better, you could put 5 in there. And then,
I think I base it off of everybody being a resident, not the increased charge for non-resident, which
okay,
I
all right.
think that's why I did it that way.
Okay, that's fair enough. And then you wanted to reduce, well, do you think you're gonna do 12 in park programs? You've still got some this year left to do, right, for the spring? I mean, the majority of that 8,558 is basketball, right now,
And eggnog.
and eggnog. Which you're definitely gonna be doing both of those next year. I'm just thinking you might
And
want
just
to,
adding another 4,000, I think is what Mike suggested.
What about the soccer tournament?
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be something, but it's hopefully, the revenue side of things, that'll be, I'm gonna look and see.
yeah, let's leave the 12 in,
Yeah, I think that's a safe,
now that I look
a
at it.
safe number.
So 44,860, we're putting in 12 for
Correct,
parks programs?
yes.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I just wanted to
No, it's
throw
okay.
that out there.
All right, we're back here.
Actually, just so, swim lessons, pool, 44,430. You made 52,75. We projecting 4. Could that?
Based on in-town only.
Okay.
We did have quite a few out of town on that one.
Would it be safe to move that to 5?
For which one?
It's your call, Ryan.
44,430. Swim lessons.
Do some math real quick.
You made 52,75 this year. Or even going 45, 4,500 instead of 4.
45, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we're making money.
Yeah.
See how easy that is? Take it in.
So is everyone good with where we are with line 27 there, the general park maintenance?
So we're going 10K general park maintenance, 7K tree trimming for lions.
Yep.
And then we're going 8K for the park shelter.
Yeah, and then we need to get a good evaluation on what needs to be done for the HERS shelter. And then we can budget for it next year. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's degrading, we need to fix it. No question.
Yeah, if, in the Google Drive is all the pictures from when we were doing
Yep.
that.
Ryan, when you do those projects, do you do, do you price out material and labor, or do you try to get volunteer labor on that?
For the shelter, that one is priced out with labor included. I'm hoping that it'll be maybe an Eagle Scout project, but I know there's one Eagle Scout project that is, or one kid that is coming up on his Eagle Scout project. It's whether or not that he decides to do anything with us, though. From the dog park, I'm hoping that I can get some volunteers to stain it. I can't say I would put them on a roof to re-roof it, but from a staining standpoint, I think that's something that's more than doable.
Line 28. Specifics here, Ryan? General park building maintenance.
Supplies, materials. Oh, building ground general maintenance.
Yeah, 4,000. It's consistently 4,000 every year.
Something in
All right.
For building grounds, yeah. 4,000, that's pretty standard where we've been at for the last several years.
We good with leaving that? Okay. Supplies, materials? That's cleaning the bathroom material and stuff?
Yep, that'll be cleaning supplies for bathrooms, paper towels, toilet paper.
Looks like it's a little high. We budgeted, well, the last 3 years, we spent 1,768, 3,000, 2,300.
So this year, we're going into the additional programming and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
This is during COVID, so that would explain it down.
Yep.
This is about on par. This is through.
It's only a partial year,
Yeah,
okay,
partial
never mind.
year.
All right. Electricity, utilities,
Power in all the parks.
we're only at 6,200 at this point for the year, but are we behind on billing or?
Oh, so ComEd bills us 2 months in advance, so yeah, we will probably, that will go up because we haven't paid September, October yet. I think we just paid September, so October, November is still out. We get a 60-day net with them.
It might be a little less too as well, because I do know Boisley has been moving their stuff away from the night games. But with the new, it's hard to figure it out, because this is the first full year that we have all LED on our field lights. So we don't fully know
That's gonna make a
yet.
difference too.
So it could go down. That'd be
Yes.
great.
Yeah,
And the majority are, we won't do anything real huge before April, right? So the majority of your billing, your higher bills are already paid.
So this number is only through
December
September?
11th.
Huh?
Today. What
This-
I've paid through today.
It's paid through September.
Correct.
So 5 months, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
6.
That way we can
Yeah.
get a better perspective next year. Fuel for building propane.
so this one, you want to explain this one?
Yeah, so we've always budgeted in this line item, but I don't really pay anything towards this. Everything that we do for heat is at the pool. So I had Ryan just take it out of here and move it to below. So it's still there, it's just not showing up in
Yeah,
this
it's
line
at the
item.
pool.
So we're gonna just keep this one at 0.
Yeah, what park buildings do we have propane fuel for?
We don't, and I was gonna go back and look at the other years, and I forgot to do that today, but we haven't put anything towards it this year,
Okay.
so. It's all
Transfer
going
out?
Don't have any money to transfer out yet.
Okay.
Transfer out's typically been used for the money market account to transfer out into the park account, and then that's where that whole $11,000 shortage was showing up that I fixed. I probably won't use this line item anymore
Okay.
until we start having money in the parks fund to transfer elsewhere.
It's like the one year when we budgeted half for the mower.
Yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
won that.
concession stand.
That's under pool.
So we're gonna move it, get rid of this item?
We used to use this when we did,
was
it was before
before
your
me.
time, when we had basketball up at the high school and we had our own concession stand, but we haven't used that in years, so.
Could this line be used for concession stand for a soccer tournament?
Yes,
You beat me to it.
it could. So we could leave it in there, just run it at 0. If you wanted to add something to it before February, once you got that figured out, or tonight, if you get it figured out, we can do that.
So then where would if we budgeted money in a concession stand in parks, where would that revenue then go into? Would it go into park programs or would it go into concessions? Because concessions in the revenue is only pool.
So probably what I would do, Ryan, is add another account line, make it 44451 and call it concessions parks. So just to keep, because we do want to keep those separate. That's important. So I would just make a subcategory for that, that account, just so it's separated out. Not a big deal.
Miscellaneous.
So miscellaneous is exactly that. Just kind of a line item that allows us to be able to purchase stuff that doesn't necessarily have a perfect home. We don't always hit that number. We could drop it down, leave it as is. In the years past, it's been additional funds that have allowed us to finish some projects that we were just a little bit short on somewhere. So we would purchase something out of that in order to finish something up if we were too close on a line item.
This year, we'll probably end up using it because we'll be over in park programs, which is the line below, just based on the supplies we got for the Christmas events and the eggnog jog and that kind of thing. We don't have all those bills in yet. So what I'll probably do is just watch that park program line. Once it hits 5,000, I'll pay the rest out of the miscellaneous line, just to keep everything in check. So it's a good thing to have in there.
All right. Park program expense. This is where you want us to say how much money we're willing to spend on park programs. 12K.
Yes, so
Should balance off with what we're getting in.
yeah, so right now for the 12K that I have budgeted, it would be cover the swim instructor cost based off of what Deb was charging us last year. 10.5 for basketball if we don't seek any sponsorships or get any sponsorships. That way we can still operate our basketball program as is. And then 800, which covers our water aerobics, which even though it's pool, it's still a park program.
So what's included in that? Can you say it again?
Sure, swim lessons instructor,
Okay.
basketball, and our water aerobics instructor. That's what I have slotted that are guarantees for.
What's their revenue for park programs?
Do 12.
It's a wash.
Well, and it would have to be, so if you guys increase the park program expense, you're gonna offset that by increasing your park program revenue.
Right.
And ideally,
Ideally, it should be a wash.
Well,
Yes.
Oh,
so
ideally, revenue should be more than the
Yeah.
expense.
Right, but on the conservative side, you'd put it as a wash.
So on
Yeah.
paper, it looks worse than it is because swim lessons makes money.
Yeah.
Water aerobics makes money. Basketball makes money if we don't have, or if we have sponsors. But our biggest expense from the basketball side of thing is officials and uniforms, which really the registration cost covers those two things. It's the facility usage fee that we're paying out. That's the big expense. To where sponsorship basically offsets that.
So if we don't have the facility usage fees, we won't need the sponsorships. Right?
In theory,
In theory. Okay.
yeah, if you,
I
basically.
don't
if-
expect that to change.
Yeah,
ever.
if you don't have
At
the
this
facility usage or the game cost, the fees that the kids pay are break even.
Yeah, based on the input from District 50, I don't expect that to change, so. And that's fine. That's, at least we know the game. right? Those are the rules moving forward, so. All right,
Until we get the rec center.
well, none of us will be on this board when that happens.
True.
Unless you want to do a Chuck Marzal and do it for 22 years, so. All right, let's move down, well, okay, senior center rental, is that a line to go away?
We've never put anything in there since I've been here, so.
Yeah, you can just ignore that. I don't know what we used with that. That was probably when we were building it, Alderman, at the time. Possibly a expense line Dave was using for something. We haven't used it in years, so I don't know if you remember,
Well,
Scott.
if the senior center was rented, the revenue wouldn't go to the city, it would go to the
It's an
senior
expense line,
To an expense line.
Oh,
so I don't know
That's where
what
we're doing
he,
some programs out there.
something out of there,
That's
yeah.
what I can think of.
yeah.
Maybe it was intended when they opened it and they never
Maybe,
used
I
it.
don't know.
Contingency.
We won't worry about that because there isn't any.
All right, so here, bingo. All right, what's your $4,000 there, Ryan?
So that's always just general new park equipment, whether
Okay.
it's mowers, weed eaters, sprayers, tools, whatever it might be that.
Well, that won't pay for a mower.
Push mowers.
Right, yeah,
Push
okay,
mowers, that
there you
is.
go.
Just kind of the general operating equipment that keeps our parks maintained, with the exception of obviously our big, large capital equipment.
All right, so we budgeted $30,000 last year. So,
Go to the other.
Yeah.
That old, or last year's. So.
We got 9,000
new
in the
equipment.
must-have.
Just $3,000 for general. We did the park, picnic tables. We did the 20K for the dog park, and then we did the 5,500 for garbage cans.
those are two picnic tables in Northfield, right?
Correct.
And how many garbage cans was that?
13, I believe.
And those are expensive.
They're about $500 a piece.
That's about right. Okay, so let's go to your list. The magic list.
Where'd my list go?
All of that stuff is, well, isn't there a must-have? You gotta go up, Mayor.
Yeah, so the must-have stuff, that's already included into the budget line items.
Okay.
That's where the purple is.
We're already included, so these are the things you need to determine.
Well, wait a minute, how are those,
We haven't talked about pool maintenance.
Yeah, that's all pool
That's all
stuff.
pool
Yeah.
oh,
So
Yeah,
right
we're
now-
in
Yeah, we're
parks.
still in
Right now,
parks.
the only thing that's in this list for parks is this, which you have, there's that, and then down here, this is Mary's Park, soccer field, shelter, soccer field. All of this is,
Yep.
parks.
Yeah, it gets to the point to where it's, like we talked about earlier, is we're doing a really, really good job on the maintenance side of things and trying to make, things as nice as we possibly can be. And we're to the point that, we need to start really, really talking and figuring out replacements. Well, either replacements or improvements.
So here,
One of the, looking at it, if you've been in a park, our trash cans are rough. We were able to get 13 new ones this year.
you want 13 more this year?
Well, it's definitely helped. We really need like 30 in order to make everything match and uniform all the way around. Picnic tables, if
So
you
you're
look
looking
at,
like $12,000 worth of,
yeah, it's 13. 13 for,
okay, yeah.
and then, from a picnic table side of things, if you look at Mary's Park, Mary's Park has all wooden picnic tables under there. Boys League underneath the shelter, or underneath the concession stand, all wood tables. There's pros and cons to wood tables. They're a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to move it for a lot of things, but they just don't take the abuse that a metal rubber-coated table, can take.
what am I missing here, Ryan? You got, the Milky Way Park ejection pit at 33,000 as a need.
Yeah.
That's we're gonna talk about that. That's not coming out of Parks Fund.
Oh, all right,
Take that off the list for
okay,
this budget.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yes,
The
that'll
picnic
save you a
tables,
ton.
do they stay in the winter out, or do we store them?
They're outside for the winter. Yep. you know, for looking at other new park equipment, you know, the community garden, which we've all had a conversation on that, you know, Mary's Park Playground, I mean, that's to the point where I can't even get parts for it anymore for that one. You know, the slide's boarded up and, you know, we really got to start figuring out something to do with that.
And I think that is a discussion for our capital improvement fund, because you're looking at, that's $100,000, and that's not something we can, either A, we're gonna have to take a loan, and Ryan and I have talked about this, where maybe we develop a 3-year plan for this park, for like Mary's Park, 3-year plan, right? Maybe we bank a certain amount of money and then ask for money out of the capital improvement plan. And what do we want to do with Mary's Park? Is there, like, I wish I had a picture of the Delavan playground we went to that had, was it sidewalk all the way around the?
Yeah, so it was recessed into the ground, and instead of the playground borders, they did basically a cement curb all the way around it. So it was flush with the grass. So it was grass up to, it was either 3 or 4 foot of sidewalk. They called it a curb because
Yeah.
of ADA requirements and stuff like that.
And that's the other
And then it
consideration,
just went
ADA.
straight into the playground, or into the play set. It was really, really nice. It's, from a maintenance standpoint, you could just, with the 3-foot barrier of curb, you could just run your mower all the way around it. You don't have to spray, you don't have to weed eat. Obviously, it is a bigger expense, and the cost for the playground, that's just to get the playground out and the new playground installed. That's not any additional work with that. Obviously, that's a large number that we just don't have this year.
Well, we don't have in general, unless we're gonna stop doing things for 2 or 3 years.
And that's for pretty close, the 100,000, I mean, you have the diagram in your packet. It's comparable to the one that's at Milky Way right now. It's about the same size. I mean, it's not anywhere near the size of Lions Park. I mean, that one's gonna be.
So this year we budgeted $30,500. You have $4,000 on there already, leaving $26,000 up for us to play with. That $27,000 estimate you have for soccer field equipment.
Yeah, so that'll cover goals, corner posts, as well as field striping equipment.
Okay, so is it possible for us to buy part of that and rent part of that this year, and then, because what I'm thinking is, can we do more garbage cans and picnic tables, and then also do soccer equipment? So like, you know, instead of doing 30 garbage cans, we do, 15, and we do 15 next year. And then, 5 picnic tables, and then half of the soccer field equipment. I'm just spitballing.
I would just, honestly, if you're gonna do it over 3, just keep it nice and even for math's sake, and just say 10 garbage cans this year, 10 next year, 10 the
Yeah.
following year.
I mean, that's just a thought I have. I want to hear what everyone else thinks. Because we also have to budget for that mower. And how many years you got on that mower, Ryan?
Mowers are about 5. That's about how long our mowers.
How many years you got left on that one that you need to replace? I mean, what are you going to get? Is it going to make it through next year? Is it
-2.
2 years?
How long have we had it?
I think that one's a 2000. It's either a 13 or a 15.
Okay.
It's the last Kubota that we have.
How much is the new one?
19.
Do we get any trade-in?
Not much.
Couple grand, 4
Not
grand?
even that. Not even that. You're better off sending that one, honestly, to auction. Buck
Yeah.
Brothers, when we purchased the last John Deere, they gave us a really, really good trade-in on it. That's just because they were coming off of COVID and they didn't really have any stock and they were looking for stuff. I think they probably lost money on it, though, honestly.
Is this more that we're talking about the same one, Lou, that Daryl was putting on Rob's list for what he wants this year?
take that one off the list.
Well,
Why would it go
Well, no,
on-
it's
why would it
still,
go under
it's
Public
not
Works?
going in
It's-
Rob's budget, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's not.
I
It's just,
misspoke.
I was talking to Rob the other day, and he was saying that Daryl wanted a mower. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same mower.
Yeah. He wants a mower every year. It's one of those things that we haven't talked about it this year, but it's something that we talked about last year, and I knew that it was gonna go into the budget this year, so.
so if we did 10 garbage cans, $5,000, $4,500. And, 4 picnic tables, that's another $4,000. Right, and then maybe one of the ADA tables, and then you could consider the rest. Well, really, that ball pit, that's something that we might need to work to at some point.
Where are the 88 picnic tables going?
So Boysley could use them. Mary's Park could use them. Those are the two for sure.
What's your total line item?
For what?
What's your total budget in this line item? 25?
Or new equipment?
26,500.
26.
If you look at so if we look at the budget from last year,
Including the $4,000 he's already got in there?
now go
We
back to
haven't
the other
added
one.
everything up yet.
There we go.
I know.
Yeah, so take the $4,000 out, that's 26,500.
Right.
If we're gonna budget that, if we wanna budget more,
So you're budgeting 26 or you're budgeting 30?
well, we've already budgeted 4,
They're
So you're
budgeting
talking about
30.
26.5 more?
yes.
They haven't
Right.
determined how many they're budgeting. They're considering budgeting 30,
Yeah, do we wanna,
of which they've
We could
already
budget 40.
allocated 4.
All right, well, with what you've been talking about, you're at 14.7, including the $4,000. That's garbage cans, ADA picnic tables, the other picnic tables you discussed, and the $4,000 that's already there.
or do we just wanna do garbage cans and then do picnic tables next year? Maybe you take care of all the garbage cans at once and they're done. And then do the picnic tables at once and they're done. That may make more sense. I don't know. What are your thoughts, guys?
We were talking about Mary's Park, and
Yeah.
we don't have anything for that.
Yeah, Mary's Park needs to be addressed at some point. Lions
Yeah.
Park.
No, I
mean,
agree.
That Lions Park playground, we're pushing 22 years, I think,
Yeah.
for that one.
And what I think we,
And it's our most used one.
I would suggest for the parks that you do what I believe Alderman Schulz suggested, and do like a 3 or 5 year plan, similar to what we were talking about with the water towers, Mayor, where you do a slow equipment replacement, a little bit each year, show it on a grid so that you know what to budget for each year, and break it down so that it's easier, because coming up with $100,000 isn't gonna happen.
What does that 100,000 cover?
Covers the removal of the existing playground there, placement, or the new playground and installation. That's what that covers.
I can help you do that if you want.
Yeah, that doesn't include however we decide to do the border around it. Mulch is relatively inexpensive, and we do have existing border that's there that can be utilized.
And you would put them all on one plan? You would break it down by park? So it'd be all on one plan, and then
Yeah.
each of your parks would have priority per equipment per year?
Which we want to start with Lions Park first, right? Because that's the
Both
most
of them
used.
need it. Mary's is in worse shape, but Lions Park is more utilized.
Yeah, I think that's the only way, the way Jay said. Plan it out in 3-5
Is-
years.
Is Lions Park here? I see Mary's Park. I
No.
don't see. I don't
Lions
see
Park
Lions
is not in that, because the want for this year is really just Mary's. The very near future must-dos up at the top has
Oh,
Lions
over
in
here.
yeah,
as well as,
If Mary's Park is the worst off, then,
the slide's boarded up with a piece of plywood.
so
That's,
that needs to be addressed.
Do you have a breakdown of the equipment that you're looking at that makes up the 100,000, where it can be piecemealed together?
So
Well-
$100,000 covers the removal of the existing playground.
Is it all one piece? You couldn't just replace the slide?
No, it's all together, and
Okay.
that one's old to where you can't get parts for them anymore. Nothing that'll fit.
Okay.
Ryan, could we remove the stuff? Do we have to pay someone to remove that, or could we handle that, or is that too much?
I mean, it's definitely doable, it's just whether the equipment and the time is available from Public Works.
I think we can find the time.
Yeah, because if you're not worried about breaking it,
Or you're taking
it's
it out,
just
it's
hooking up
garbage.
the backhoe bucket
That's
to
what I mean,
it.
it's garbage, so tear it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If we can save some money and tear it out ourselves.
Scrap it.
Yeah, so the removal cost for option one was $3,500 for removal.
That's still, that's 3,500 and go towards something else.
So Ryan, these quotes you have in here, like.
Yeah.
This is for this entire unit?
There's two options there.
So I'm seeing a total of 28,350.
So the 28,350, which option is that?
That's just for the.
Option 2.
Where's the 100,000 coming from?
So that is just the removal of the existing and the installation, not the actual playground
Equipment.
itself.
Gotcha.
So the equipment for one of them, so option one, the equipment is 69,751. And then just the removal and the installation of option one is 28,350. Option two, it's 56,175.
I see. I'm on the next page. Okay,
21,750.
thank you.
Well, I think just in the future, it'd be helpful just to have it, kind of like you have it set up here, but either add another tab or just add another column.
Yeah, on the
that says,
side. Notes.
Here's
Notes, right.
everything that's involved.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was hinting at before. This way you can figure out
Yeah.
what we can chop out and so on, rather,
so we could chop out 3,500, which is the removal cost.
Right.
The installation cost, that's where the big money, because we're not doing that. I mean, we could do that, you're gonna spend the whole summer doing it, and you're gonna have extra parts, and they'll be, right? What was this for?
I hear you.
the extra
We don't need
profit
that.
Well, okay, but
We did it more efficiently.
okay, so, but the point we're debating here is, all right, we budgeted 30,500 last year. We could budget more, or do we have room to budget more? That would be my question. And what do we want to do with that? Now, obviously, if we're, again, my opinion is, we have a capital, improvement fund, and to me, a larger project like this should come out of that, and that's just my opinion, but,
It's his capital improvement.
Right, so.
right, but
and
this
I
is a
know-
separate fund.
And I know where you're going with that, or at least I
Yeah.
reasonably can guess. That's one of the funds that we're talking about long-term,
Yep.
for the city. I think right now, though, the only problem is we don't have any seed money
Yeah.
to be able to go over.
We have a capital, Parks Money Market Capital Improvement Account that has 75,000 in it. We have two accounts in the Parks Fund. We have the Parks General Fund, which is run through the General Revenue Fund. And
Yeah.
then we have the Money Market Account, which we used last year.
Which is
for the dog park.
$77,000 in it.
That current balance is 75,000, but last year it was almost 90. We used some money.
We used some
There's-
money, yeah.
The only money going into that is your parks, your building permit fees.
Yeah.
So the more we build, houses,
Right.
the more money goes in there. But remember, we pull it out because we use part of that as a budget. If you look back at your revenue line item, building permits,
Yeah.
this coming year, we're gonna pull that from the money market account. That's not from the general fund, because that's not where it goes. So there is a fund there, but it's not growing, it's shrinking, because we're not contributing to it as fast as we're using it.
So my advice is simply try not touching it, that 75,000, at least not yet.
That was the money that the Parks Board, the Parks Foundation or whatever.
No, they have their own separate.
Yeah.
No, we're completely separate.
They're not for profit, they're separate from the city and altogether.
Okay.
See where we're at money-wise.
So what I'm saying is, I think Mary's Park the playground there is a separate discussion. Maybe the discussion that we have to have at another meeting is, do we tear that playground out now?
Well,
Because
I'm
if there's-
wondering, Jay, if we're getting to putting the cart before the horse here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should skip this line, go through the rest of the budget.
Yeah.
See where we're at,
See how much money we got.
and that'll tell us what we can put in here, and then whatever that dollar amount is, then we go through the list of needs and wants and say, okay, we can do this, this, and this.
That's
You have
fine.
another meeting in January, correct? Yes?
Let's go. So we need to move to the pool then.
Yes, I would even take that 4,000 out of there.
Well, that's general though, that's,
That's
That's
stuff
new
he has
equipment.
to have.
Yeah, the four is the general push mowers, sprayers, weeders,
Oh, all right.
tools,
Okay.
general equipment.
all right. So let's jump to salaries.
500,000 guards.
Okay. Health insurance.
Yep, that's the other half.
All right, yep. Training and seminars, is that for your lifeguard training?
Yep, that's for my renewal in 2025, as well as the costs that we have to pay to Red Cross for our lifeguards.
No engineering fees? Okay, so $10,000 here is general?
Yep.
And then the 7,000 is the trees, right?
No, so the 7,000 is going to be 6,000 for the new pump, plumbing that needs to be done.
Okay.
That's gonna be in your packet, those flanges, butterfly valves, ball valves, stuff like that. It's to the point that I have been fighting and fighting and fighting leaks up there. And I have to cut stuff out and replace it. It's just highly corrosive environment, as much as Schedule 80 isn't supposed to wear down.
So should that be, 1,000 for, there we go, 1K for, there it is, right
Yep.
there, Mike. There's your explanation.
Yep, there, and then, the caulk and expansion joint. If you remember this May, when, about 4 days before I was putting water in the pool, I had to pull everything out, use new backing rod and caulk. The caulk was old and expired, but it was all I could get in a quick enough time in order to get the pool operational for this year. It was either put it in for a year, let it go, and know that it's gonna need to be redone next year. It was for the most part garbage anyway. It made us through the season. We were able to get it, fully operational for this year, but it's something that I want to pull out and go
Okay.
back through and really make sure everything is sealed up where it's supposed to be.
We're good. Moving to the next line then.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
Advertising.
we have budgeted something in there in the past.
I recommend you budget something here because we need to advertise our programming, and we're expecting to create a quarterly catalog. Now, the question is, how much of that can come out of the GF?
And is that coming
So-
out of pool?
Ryan and I had this discussion when we started the budget process. He's going to be getting me a number for printing and postage. I don't think we discussed advertising,
No, it's just paying and
but
postage.
that's basically advertising, right?
Yes,
And we will run that out of the general fund this year, or
okay.
this coming fiscal year, because there's money there to do it. And, as we're going to be talking about next month, getting out of this deficit and trying to get this this fund and this department built up. We'll do that this coming year, and then we'll just see from year to year how we go.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to budget advertising out of the pool or the parks this year.
Consistent cleaning supplies, 3K.
Yeah, that's just general office supplies, as well as cleaning supplies for office, bathroom, and concessions that we use up at the pool.
You're leaving maintenance at 17 then?
Yes.
Are we adding the tree trimming into that?
Oh, yes. Well, you said it had to be done in the pool, right?
Yeah.
Then make that 27,
Well,
24.
it's a need. I think I had it listed.
Well, how many more years, I mean,
It really, really needs to be done.
is everyone comfortable with adding that there?
That was 15K you want.
No, down below, bottom. Tree trimming pool at the bottom.
Oh, here,
Who does the trimming?
I'll quote it out between Power, AJ&R, and
Had to
else?
make some money.
I'm drawing a blank.
So you want to take
No.
that to 24?
Yes. All right. Down to telephone, cell phone.
That's the pool or the phone for the pool.
Yep, we're good. All right, what do we need to put in here? 12K? No? Look at that last year, holy cow.
Yeah, this last year it's jumped.
16K then? For this year, or 17?
Turn off the damn night lights, Ryan.
Yeah.
I think you're safe at 14.
Quit heating the pool.
14?
Yeah. But, I mean, just looking over the last few years, we're in
It
there.
averages about.
You budgeted
We're at
17, you
10,
did 14,
and You're
yeah.
at 16 this year.
Why was it so much under budget last year? We were at full capacity last year, right?
Might have been a hot summer and the boiler wasn't running as much or something like that.
It was really hot last summer.
So yeah, the boiler probably. I mean, that thing draws just.
This year was not such a warm summer, so I could see why
I was
boiler
heating,
Yeah, it was
be
cold this
operating
summer.
more often.
yeah, I was heating water like crazy this year.
You doing 14 then?
Be wise to put 14 in there.
Yeah, I'd do that. I agree. Fuel, 9K you think, or?
So that's, remember how we split it? It was split between parks and pool.
Yeah, it's
Now
all
it's
here
all
now.
just under pool.
But it's all,
It's the same.
it's
It
the
was
same
4 in parks last year and 5 in pool, so we're just putting all of it in pool.
Yep. That'll be for heating the pool inside the building itself as well as the boiler.
How are we doing on chemicals? Do we have any sitting around, or?
Very little.
Okay, all right.
I was over budget this year and I got what I needed or the bare minimum that I had to order. Yeah, so we originally budgeted, where was it? 9 last year, yeah. And then in April, prices went up.
Yep.
We didn't find out about it until late April, beginning of May, when we were getting ready to open the season. Just for a little bit, chlorine, my buckets went from $99 per bucket to about $139 per bucket. Yeah, so that was a pretty big hit right there. You know, we tried to piece it as close as we could, and I have very, very little stock left. Yeah,
That's what they
so,
told me.
Yeah. Okay. Is everyone-
I mean, I'm banking on the prices probably staying the same. I'm sure they won't go down.
No.
But yeah,
Everyone good with that total?
the one thing that I do have a little bit extra of is acid, but acid is the cheapest out of all of them. To fill the tank, it's right about a little over $1,000, I think.
No transfer out, okay. For concessions, should we raise that to 8,500? Yeah, I
can do
would
that.
think.
You're consistently over 8,500.
So it ought to be at least 9.
Yeah. 85 or 9.
9?
9?
Yeah, that's,
Are you safe? Oh. Lost miscellaneous. We have something in there?
It was
There was
1,000.
Okay.
Same thing as parks or
Yeah.
miscellaneous.
All right. Now, can we scroll down a little bit more, Mike, so we can see? Here we go.
So you want to hit the new equipment?
We got $41,000 to spend here, folks.
Well-
Between,
You done with pool new equipment?
New equipment, Jay.
well, 11K, right? But I'm assuming that's everything you have listed up here that you absolutely have to have.
Yeah, so the
Right.
two, it's the new pool vac,
Yeah.
as well as the new NVR system. So just a little update on the NVR system. The entire system, technology terms, I don't know, I want to say melted itself or just corrupted itself. So we have to replace the NVR system up there, which is the device that actually records. I can still view the cameras live, but the recording is the issue at the moment. So that price is the replacement for the 16 bank NVR system. And that's through Myron, who does all of our
Okay.
camera.
And the pool vac we talked about, that's an upgrade, but that allows you, it's basically a Roomba for the pool,
Yeah.
where you don't have to have employees do it. It does it.
Are employees currently vacuuming the pool?
When they get their butts out of bed and get there, yes.
So
It's,
I will tell you, I own a robot. It's hands down like the best thing since sliced bread, because it doesn't care if it's raining, it doesn't care if it's light out, if it's dark out, it will clean and clean and clean, and then you just empty it out, and it removes the amount of labor,
Yep.
and it just goes about and does its business, so. they're
Ryan,
well
what did you,
worth it.
what did you calculate on savings, actually, if we don't have to have our employees do it anymore?
it would pay for itself in about 3.5, 4 years.
what's the life expectancy of this? long is it gonna last
So I was actually talking to somebody over at the YMCA in Loves Park about this, and they've had one, and they're on year 5, and it's still going strong.
So it's gonna pay for itself then?
Yeah, and they're running it. They don't close down during this,
Yeah, they'd be
The
running
winter.
a lot more.
So theirs is running pretty frequently. The biggest thing with that one is either way, I have to replace the pool vac this year.
Yeah.
I have to have a new one, whether it's one that we have to have somebody do or a robot one. And if we're gonna do it, I can throw it in there at night. Then the benefit with that is, let's say Monday, we plan on vacuuming Mondays and Fridays. Well, I can't have anybody in the pool in the morning during those times because we're vacuuming. Or if it's raining or it's too windy and they can't see the bottom of the pool, then we're pushing it off another day. This thing you can just throw in there, let it go, let it run overnight, pull it out in the morning, and you're good to go.
All right, so I noticed the total there is 12,300. I don't think that matches what we have on the other page.
No, because that
Well, that's
includes,
because part of this was
Maintenance.
in maintenance.
Oh, okay, got it.
So
got it.
you're looking at 9,051
yeah.
here.
I think I have it in there, it's like 9,100 or something like that.
Okay,
So I go
Yep.
back to here. So he's got part of it there, and pool vac, and then,
okay, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have that. Okay, so Ryan, let's go back. So now we know we have $41,000, and we have two funds to fill that into.
no,
Other
we're-
things here in the pool that you need, Ryan, what would you prioritize? Can you go another year without filters, and then we do like everything else on that list? For the pool, right?
That's all this,
Where did the list go?
No, just talking about the pool stuff, from.
Here.
Literally just had it.
Right, not even pool maintenance, so, Mike, just pool new equipment infrastructure, that's it. So the tree trimming, we've already got under maintenance.
yeah, I just,
Yeah, right,
yeah, all this.
Up one. Up one, right there. So out of those,
Out of those,
1,000.
one of the biggest things that people at the pool want, and that's the better sound system. because right now up there, we are just running basically on,
Oh, but that's in a want, that's not.
yeah, amplified speakers. You know, the pressure washing hose, that's something that, I put it in there because it's something that we need. It's a pretty low-cost item. You know, I think if we're looking at anything, it would be the filters and the training mannequins. Currently, we have 4 adult, 4 infants. When we're doing classes and I have 6, 7, 8 kids, you can't run, you know, 8 adults and then 8 infants.
If I'm doing the math right here, those lines that are highlighted there, plus the new sound system is about 15,000. We've got 15,000 available in the budget.
Lines that are highlighted are 15,000?
Yeah.
So,
The 4 gray lines?
Yeah.
No, plus
Plus-
pool
Plus the pool filter.
Plus the sound.
so the tree trimming, we changed that to 7,500, right?
Yeah, but we're not worried about that yet.
No,
We're
no, no,
talking
I know,
about
I
pool
know,
stuff right now.
I know. Hold on a second. And then pool filters, you're still talking about doing that.
And I'm still
Okay.
waiting back on a quote from
200.
them for the actual
Yeah, your
number.
thing jumps around. Yeah. Yeah, hit that thing. Sorry, pardon me. And then the 1,800 for the CPR.
Yeah, so
And then
if we get the training kit, we don't need I could use the AEDs just because they go out whoever decided to not have waterproof electronics for aquatic stuff is beyond me. But we do have AEDs. I could use some replacement ones, but with the new training kit, that would significantly help that, and we could eliminate those if we had to.
All right, so the 7,500 was already budgeted.
We've already got that in the
Okay.
budget.
That's
So
in
I'm
parks.
So that doesn't go. So
Okay.
you got 11,000 there, plus 3781 for the sound system.
15K,
That's what I said.
yeah, right,
And we've got about 41,000
yeah.
available in the budget.
Are you gonna be doing anything with your park program equipment, Ryan? Because if you're gonna eat it all up with this, then you're not gonna make
No,
enough for that.
I agree.
That
We got
would
the
be
money,
up to-
but between the pool and then the rest of it, we have what, 40K? to play with?
41.
41K between parks and pool.
All right. So if you take out, that's after taking out, well, that's before you take out the 11,000, if you were to do these.
If you did
So you got
11,000 a
30,000.
year, that would leave you 30,000 to spend in parks.
So you wanna put 2,200, Lou, in new equipment under the pool in the other spreadsheet.
On the other spreadsheet, okay.
That will get all of that plus the sound system.
Hold off on the sound system for now, that's a want,
I'll let you go back. to
that's
doing
just
it.
my opinion.
I had something in my head, but I hate working on laptops, or off laptops.
So, I'm sorry, what do you want here?
200,
22,000.
yeah, 22,000, thank you.
Which is going to include this plus, I'm just gonna add it to this line. Sound system,
No, that doesn't
No,
include the sound
doesn't
system.
include the
Sound
sound
system would be another $4,000 on top of that.
so what does this
Pool
include?
needs, the category under pool needs.
It would be the pressure washer, hand tools, training AEDs, and AED training kit.
AEDs, right?
And the pool filters, doesn't it?
And the pool
Pool
filters,
filters, yeah.
yeah.
Still have 30,000.
What we had before.
So you've taken care of all of your pool needs.
Yes.
Where's your other needs? Before
You
you go
gotta
to
go
your
back
wants.
up to the middle of the budget.
So we've taken care of all of these, right?
Yeah.
So can I highlight those are done? We
Did the tree
included
trimming
this,
pool
didn't
Did the
we?
tree trimming for the
Because
pool.
that's in maintenance.
Yep,
Did we do this one?
Yep.
yep,
So that whole thing is.
We accounted for these?
it's all done.
Those are all budgeted and.
And we did down below, we did the,
Did
Dog
this?
park.
I thought you
They
split
did
the
the-
No,
tree
you didn't do
trimming
the
to
sound
seven.
system.
we did not do the sound system.
I thought you knocked the 15 grand for tree trimming to 7.
Just Lions Park.
Gotcha.
And then the ones. in the
Press Control
pool are
Z.
separate because
I know, but you have,
There you go.
can you scroll up
Dog,
more?
dog park repair.
See on the tree trimming at Lions Park, 15, didn't we knock that down to 7 so we could do the dog park at 8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We did half of the tree trimming at
Yep.
Lions.
This was at
7,000.
1,000.
And you'll bid that out with the stuff at the pool,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Did
And then we
account
did
for
the-
anything in here?
It'll be a
Yeah,
combo.
Milky Way Dog Park shelter repairs.
For 8.
That's the other half of what you just took off.
Okay,
$30,000, folks.
so you have 30,000 to complete this.
But you have,
Well, and you also have park
Mary's
programs.
Park.
So do we want to budget $10,000 for, well, I guess my question is, what are we budgeting for?
what is the equipment, Ryan?
What is the equipment?
If you open up my flash drive.
Up.
Yeah, go to Canal. Program equipment needed. That's a full list for the programs that I'm currently working on for this upcoming fiscal year and the pricing for each one of those. You can see, and it's a little bit kind of hard to read, but once you know what you're looking at. So it's broken down by age groups as well.
Age.
So you can see, the 2 to 4 range and then the 5 to 10. So there are different, the same program for different age levels. So you can just I'm going to use art for an example. So easels, paintbrushes, that type of stuff can be used for every single different age level. So it might be in one but not in the other. If it's red, it is an item that's needed, but I'm thinking that we can get it from somewhere else, or or we don't know the cost yet. Like if you look at for the mini chef cooking class, the ingredients, well, that's going to be what the instructor wants to do, and we really don't know where that number is going to fall at yet. Like the basic science experiment kits for that one. You can do a lot of stuff with your just general Walmart items, whether it's in the baking soda. And then if you look at some of the other ones, like for the youth ballet class, those mirrors and that stuff, those are large capital pieces of equipment. Art, you go into the canvases, brushes, paint, easels. They have some different options for that. What I try to do with the programs that I'm working on is have them be as, I call it equipment labs, just because it's something, whether, creative writing workshop, you can bring your own pen, paper, or laptop. Really cost conscious with a lot of that stuff.
Sorry to jump to the end here, but what's the ballpark number here?
All the way at the end.
17.
So then if you go to my other programs, spring, summer. These are all programs that are currently being worked on right now. Or in either in development, or pretty close to it. If you go all the way down to the bottom. So that's kind of where we're sitting at so total hours paid for the instructor is going to be 990 hours is what we're going to pay to run every single one of these programs. Hourly rate is going to be right around that $20 an hour, so our total instructor cost will be that. Total revenue if all programs run at full participation. And then equipment expenses. Figure in like the ingredients and stuff, I kind of budgeted somewhere in that $2,500 range for, those missing pieces that we don't necessarily have, that we won't know until we have a full instructor on.
I like the idea, or I like thinking about having full participation. What are the odds of that?
I had to have a number in there.
I'd budget for 2/3 participation.
Yeah, that's a little more like, so we're really only looking at, maybe 27, 30,000,
28.
28? Somebody got a calculator handy?
So we're losing $10,000. So do we budget
Yeah,
$10,000 for,
2/3 of this number is 28,700, called 730.
and
So plus 20, so you're looking at
$10,000 loss. So do we budget 10K for the equipment? And the rest of it, I mean, I don't know. So you gotta have starter fee, you gotta have seed money to do what you need to do, to at least have, you can't have a program without the equipment. And you can't sign people up, I don't have the equipment yet, and,
yeah.
you know, I've signed everyone up, now I gotta go about, buy the equipment. I mean, it's kinda, doesn't really work that way.
We got about 40,000 in costs, and what did you say, Mayor, is the,
2/3, at 2/3 participation, you're looking at 28,700 in revenue.
so you're looking like it'll lose about 11,000 overall
For the first year.
for the first year, and I know that's
Oh, yeah, once you buy, yeah, once
pessimistically,
your,
but it's
your
just
equipment
the
cost
numbers.
goes away after that, right?
Well,
Or it doesn't go away,
yeah,
you have to replace it.
Some of it will go.
yeah,
And keep in mind now, you've got the, 30,000 that you're working on or wants instead of needs. So
Right.
you really could take 11 to 12,000 and use it as seed money towards this.
Mhm.
And still have $18,000 roughly.
Yeah.
To set aside. What's that? Oh. So, yeah, you'll be able to accomplish this, and then you're right, in year 2, your costs are gonna start going down.
Yeah.
In some of this, plus we also have a better idea what our programs are.
And if we get lucky and we get better participation, God bless us.
And some of the other things that we're eventually gonna talk about is not just the eggnog jog, but, cause that went off very well, is doing like a zombie run, something more holiday themed. And we don't have, what the final numbers will be for the soccer tournament, but there too, I'm sorry, I'm getting way off track.
Is
Yeah.
that in here, the equipment for the soccer tournament?
yeah, it's in,
On the wants, isn't it?
Take 10,000,
on the wants.
do we wanna take $10,000 and put it to the programming?
Well, how could you want if you're gonna have a soccer tournament?
Well, we haven't.
Because the junior Hornets own soccer goals that could be utilized, but we'd still have to rent them from them. Currently at Milky Way Park, the city of Harvard owns 0 soccer goals on the grounds.
Do they have striping equipment?
They do.
So that,
Do we know how
The
much?
other thing that I was thinking with the soccer field equipment is the men's soccer league could rent them from us, as well as the striping equipment, as well as that, because currently they are renting it from the Harvard Junior Hornets.
so what's the 27,000 include?
4 sets of goals, corner flags for each field, as well as field marking equipment.
And do we know how much Harvard Junior would charge us to rent that equipment for this year?
I do not at this moment.
Okay.
Does Harvard Junior Soccer's goals meet whatever standard there is today?
80% of them do, yes.
So this would give us 2 fields. 27,000.
27 would give us enough equipment to do 4 fields.
Gotcha.
And you say that currently the men's league out there is renting it from the junior, okay, so their equipment must be acceptable for,
Those ones are. It's
Yeah.
once you get down into the younger kids that some of their goals are a little bit out of date.
So in theory, you could do 2 fields.
Because the reason that I put that in there is because if you did the Milky Way Park improvements, then it would be enough space to do 4.
Could we start off with 2?
Well, so you're talking about doing a smaller tournament,
Right.
10, 12 teams, 2 fields.
You would also have the option of purchasing, for the soccer tournament, the equipment out of your money market account, and the revenue you generated goes back into the money market account,
Which will offset some of these costs as well.
and would free up some of your extra 30 grand that you're working with right now to do some of the other programs.
Yeah, because we should probably do something at Mary's Park, or have Ryan draw up a plan. Because if that slide is bad, if somebody gets injured, it's a
Well,
liability.
I would do what we did at JC's and tear out the equipment.
Tear it out, yep.
I mean, it's a statement made. This equipment's old, we shouldn't leave it here. And then people will get upset, they will come to the meetings, they'll say, you need to budget money. Then we go to city council and say, I need you to give me money out of the capital improvement fund to do this. And I know we have a capital improvement fund, I know we have we sold land over there for $179,000, and we never spent any of that money. So, and I know it's for for more than parks, I get it. It's absolutely for other things that we need to do. But what I'm saying is it shouldn't be just for everything else but parks. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, no, just to clarify for the capital improvement, and just like equipment reserve.
Yeah.
The idea is that, like there'd be a capital improvement, it's like section just for parks, just like there would be for anything else, like
Sure.
equipment reserve. There would be the equipment reserve for, public works, equipment reserve for police.
But then what I'm saying is, when we build that, so I'm just going to give you the example. We had 179K, and we have 25K. Those were the 2 pieces of property that we sold. $204,000 was last year. What you're saying, I'm hoping I'm tracking, is we're going to take 10% of that and put it into the parks capital improvement fund. We're going to take 50% of that, put it in the building.
Was
We
this,
can't do that, that was last year's budget.
No. Well, where is that money?
It's in the general fund.
It's in the general fund. So we have money in the general fund.
Yes.
So we could go to, in the budget meeting and say, City Council, I want you to consider, we have to tear out this playground. I would like you to take $100,000 out of the general fund to replace this playground.
We could do that, but that defeats the purpose of the general fund continuously subsidizing a park fund that's already going to be
Well,
bailed out of a
but-
deficit.
It's all one thing. We are all one city. It doesn't, I understand what you're saying, but then we'll just tear it out and leave it? I don't quite,
I don't think you should tear it out and leave it.
well,
I
okay,
didn't-
you
if
can't
I can-
repair it.
So, okay, it gets confusing. The general fund is a fund. It's
Correct.
Fund 01, okay?
Correct.
Within that fund are departments and accounts.
Okay.
Within the general fund is the administrative department, the public works department, the police department, the community development department. That's in Fund 01.
Right.
Your fund, this body's fund, is Fund 04.
correct.
It's a different fund. It operates under a different capital improvement plan. It has its own capital improvement checking account.
Correct.
It's separate from the 01 fund.
Correct.
The 04 general cash
So-
fund that we're
but-
working with right now is commingled with the checking account of the general fund, but it's a different fund.
Right,
It's not
but-
the same accounting system.
We're going to have a capital improvement fund.
You have one.
No,
It's your
I'm not
Parks Money
talking about
Market account.
parks, I'm talking about the city in
The
general.
city has one as well,
Right,
yes.
so some of the things we were considering was, hey, should we update the other side of the building, replace all the windows, all that stuff? And that would be money we would take out of the capital improvement fund to fix that if we needed to.
For
Not
City
our-
Hall?
What?
For City Hall? City
correct.
Hall, that's budgeted for in the general fund. We budget for that under building maintenance. The capital improvement fund from the general account is a separate checking account as well.
So what I'm saying is when that
Why did all that money go to that fund?
why did all that money go to that fund? Why wasn't
Didn't.
some of it pushed
It went into
to-
the general fund.
What?
The sale of the lot out here at Northfield
correct.
went into the general fund.
But why did it go there? Why didn't we say, okay, we're gonna put some of this into the park
I
fund?
didn't have that decision-making
No,
capability, you did.
Right. Well, okay.
I didn't decide where it went
And
at
that-
budget
But
time.
that's fine, but if it's in the general fund right now, I also have the decision-making property to say, I want you to move some of that over here.
It's gone. It was budgeted for last time and it was used.
Wait, can I help this conversation a second?
Yeah.
So if, right now, the way everything is holding out, okay, and I know this is making an assumption that a lot of this is gonna repeat next year. You've already, right now, taken care of a lot of the must-haves. You've taken care of all but $8,000 of the need. And you've also, taken out a lot of a few of the want items and still have $30,000 left. If you plug those numbers back in for next year, for 25-26, assuming you remove the equipment there at, Mary's Park, you already have the money in the budget next year to take care of it by itself.
Take care of Mary's Park?
Mary's Park, the
Next year?
100,000. Yep. Not in 25-26.
So you're saying not do anything next year or the year
If
after?
you just remove it, so it's no longer a liability issue, in 25-26, you can buy that equipment.
Not
You've
install
already-
it, though.
What's that?
$97,000? No, we wouldn't.
Yeah,
Well,
you've got-
but what you were saying for the next 2 years, we wouldn't do anything.
You wouldn't be able to do
We would not be
anything
able to
else.
do anything the next 2 years.
Summer of 25, you would be doing it, not the summer of 24.
Year and a half from now.
Maybe not do anything else those years.
We would not be able to do anything else. We would not be able to do tree trimming. We would not be able to, you would have to, well, I mean, you could take some money out of the capital improvement fund. But so I guess my disappointment here is last year when this happened, when we sold those properties, I said, why don't we take that money and use it? And we talked about using it to improve, City Hall, to update all the windows and everything. We didn't do anything. And so that money has been used already. Somehow we use it for
It's in the
something else
fund
in the budget.
balance.
And it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's in our fund balance. We don't use every single dime we bring in every year.
Okay? So the
Otherwise-
money is there still then? is
There's
what
a
you're saying.
fund balance right now, the checking account's at $6 million. That's our fund balance, okay? But you need to remember that we haven't finished the fiscal year, and all of our property
Right.
tax has been brought in.
Right.
So I don't know where that fund balance is gonna be in
I get
April.
it.
Our auditors will tell us that. But if our fund balance in April is zero and the bottom drops out, we have no money to make payroll or to pay the bills or anything else. We don't spend every single dime every year that we bring in.
I'm not, okay, so I'm not advocating that we spend every single dime, but the $204,000 that we got in, that was money that didn't it wasn't like budgeted.
It wasn't budgeted for. You're correct.
So that money should have been taken and put into an account for, not for the parks, but here's a capital improvement fund. This money is going to be in this money market so we can use it to do improvements as we deem.
I
that's
don't
my
disagree
opinion.
with that.
But
But we
you-
didn't do that because no one decided to do that. And I can't answer why.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, Deb, I'm not.
No, it's okay. I
I-
get it.
it
It's
just-
frustrating. I understand.
Because I brought it up, I'm like, let's use this, let's do this. Let's make that side of the building the same age as this side of the building.
Well, we did
Alderman,
budget,
those decisions are made in the budgeting workshop.
Yeah,
right. And we
that's
did
fine.
budget for new windows and doors. It's not done yet, but it is in this current budget.
Okay, we got 30K, so 30,500. And I apologize, everyone.
It's kind of interesting to see them hear.
Well, it just seems to me like that when you got lost in the shuffle.
It's very confusing. It really is. And I understand it because I work with it every day, but it is confusing. And I do understand the frustration.
I agree with you, John.
It is frustrating because the parks are very important to the community.
Yes, they are.
And we need to do something, and we keep pushing it out. So I can understand his frustration.
So I guess the lesson is if we do sell more land, put that in a separate account. Don't you put it in the general account.
Well, yeah, I mean, we should have done that. I
It just
mean,
gets lost in the shuffle.
yeah.
Well, that's up to city council to
Yeah,
determine.
yeah.
No, absolutely, Scott.
And so that was something that
No
was
one to
being
blame for it but us.
discussed, like, when you sell surplus equipment, as we, in this next budget year and moving forward, as we start to have these funds in place, when we sell equipment, that money doesn't just go into the general fund. Well, it goes into the general fund initially, but then it gets moved over into the equipment reserve. Same with doing like your, selling land and so on. All that would go into the appropriate account, but we don't have those accounts established right now. So there's nothing left to do but to put it into the general fund.
Well, and you also have to understand budgeting is a process. So if we don't budget to transfer money into another account, we can't just throw it in there because now there's no accounting of it. It has to be budgeted for in a transfer. That's where your transfer ins and your transfer out line items come from. So, and we'll talk about that more at the budget workshop as well, but you can't just say, oh, I'm going to get this and put it here and put it there. You have to plan for that, or else the audit's a mess, and nobody knows where anything is. So it's a process.
Ask a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we take out the equipment at Mount St. Mary's, right, and that's all metal, I think?
Yeah.
For what?
The playground
Not at
equipment
Mount
at
St. Mary's,
At Mary's Park.
Mary's
at
Park.
Mary's
Yes,
Park.
yeah.
There's a lot of Mary's Parks.
Yeah.
At Mary's Park, and we have all that metal, do we get money back from scrapping it or anything?
Yeah, we would
And
scrap
then
any metal that
do
would be
we
available.
Put that back into the Parks Fund?
Yes.
And then is there any kind of government, like, grants that we can get for beautifying our parks or updating, like, so could we look into that kind of stuff before deciding, or do we have to decide tonight exactly what we're gonna do?
Well, to me, the replacing the playground equipment at Mary's Park is a 2 to 3 year process for us. So we don't have to make that decision tonight, in my opinion.
To answer your questions, as grant opportunities become available, we do apply for them. Also remember though, most grants require a match. You don't have any money to match.
Well, at 50K would be easier than, I mean,
Yeah.
we have that. We
Yeah.
could do that. I mean, that would be the one thing we would do, and we wouldn't have any money left in our capital improvement fund.
But what I'm suggesting is, typically when these grant proposals come out and there's a window to apply for them, you have already budgeted all your revenue.
Yeah.
So there is no money available for a
No, but
match.
we would have that. Capital improvement fund would be available for a match.
That is a possibility.
And this group could make that decision, and.
They
yeah.
could, yes.
Right, of the like 18 so $1,000 left, because if you do like the $11,000 to $12,000 into the rec programs, that leaves about $18,000 left. You honestly could set that money into a capital improvement fund, or have that budgeted to be transferred out, so you can actually start your fund. It'd be effective in 25, 26 and moving forward. And keep in mind, there's always going to be a little rough patch as you start to change philosophies. We, as far as the council, we went through this discussion, changing from just throwing asphalt all the time to let's at least maintain what we have. And there's that feeling like, all right, we've always been doing it this way. We're changing it to a different direction, and we're going to get more done in the years to come. If you only have $18,000 left over, there's no harm in kicking it over into the capital improvement fund, and between what you already laid out, which is about $106,000, plus the $18,000, you're going to have more than enough in 25, 26 to get new equipment with the new pricing installed.
You have to budget for it, though.
Right, you have to budget for it, but you're talking about just
But that would not allow, I mean, again,
it's just biting your lip for just 12 months.
Right now, you're operating in a department that has more expenses than it does revenue.
Right.
correct.
At some point, we hope to turn that around.
Because the city has neglected it for years, because the city chose to reduce the budget, not mow. They made that decision,
Correct.
And so
and they left this for us.
But it is what it is.
It absolutely is
your-
what it is.
Your current
is
capital
part of the
improvement
growing
account, your
pains.
parks capital improvement account is funded right now solely by building permits. You aren't transferring any money into that
And-
capital
and
improvement account.
we've done. We're
So
done.
as that grows, you will have more money.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long time. Doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It doesn't happen overnight.
no. Okay, so how much money do we want to put in the park program equipment? Someone make a recommendation.
$10,000.
$10,000. There we go. Is 10,000, everyone okay with that? All right. So that leaves us $20,500. Let's go back to the list. All right. What do we want to do for park, new infrastructure, equipment? Do you want to do garbage cans? Do you want to do do you want to just set it aside?
Where did you put the park program equipment, the 10,000? Which line item?
Sorry. He said he wanted to put it into, capital improvement.
No, the 10,000 was gonna go into,
New equipment?
Up,
No.
up in the parks, though.
up in parks, under parks programs.
Ours programs, yep.
So you want to take this to 22.
22, yes.
Okay.
And then let's
We also
add
have the
that,
minutes.
and that
Now we have
was-
20,500 left.
And that was, how much was it? We
On
just,
that, Jay, I mean, do we have to, I mean, I was thinking that the.
No, we do not.
And don't forget,
10K
this,
for programs, right?
We
you
could
can,
just
all
sit on
You
it.
don't have to decide tonight.
right, you can wait until January and decide, really, they have until really January or February.
They have till January to give their input.
Right.
The soccer goals and stuff, what was the price for that, 27,000?
Sorry. It was 27,000 for 4 sets. Right.
We buy are we gonna make money off of this, buying this stuff, I mean?
Not in the first year.
And I think we're better off renting it the first year.
Yeah.
And then we see whether or not it takes off. It could be a huge success, could be a flop. Let's minimize our costs into it.
Yeah, and if it's a flop and we just rented it, we're out a few $100s or whatever
Right.
it is.
Right.
Instead of,
So we
13,000.
so we still had $20,000 though, correct? Is that my
Yeah,
understanding?
25.
Park garbage cans is 13,000 for 30 of them.
Do you guys want to do that? Do you want to,
Well, I'm kinda on board with you, Jay, right? Get them all and be done with it. They're
Right.
all the same.
That'd be about 13,000.
Yeah, done.
So then we're not gonna put anything away?
well, if we do $13,000 for the garbage cans, we can take $7,000 and put it away.
People appreciate playgrounds more than they appreciate garbage cans.
This is very true. I'm not, well,
I mean, we need both, but
or what about if we
I
do,
mean,
what if we do the picnic
we're,
tables then?
we're running out of time with playgrounds.
All
How
right,
do,
then put-
how do we get that accomplished, though, I mean,
Well, okay, so if we put, so. if
So,
we-
I'm sorry, if I
Yeah.
can help out. So, you have picnic table, you got 4 items trying to get through the door, okay? How about instead of, picking one, you still go on a 3-year plan, do, 10, 5, and either 1 or 2, between the cans, the tables, and the ADA tables. And then, so over the next 3 years, for sure, this goes from a want item up into the must-have, so you consistently stay at knocking it down. It's just taking the same
Yeah.
13,000 and breaking it up and getting more to move everything forward.
Parks is always the hardest budget to do.
do we want to do 10, 5, and 1? That fine?
So
Okay,
bring-
let's
yeah.
do that then. So
So you want to do how much?
10 garbage cans, which would be 4,300,
Roughly.
4,333, right?
I'll get final numbers because
Yeah,
there was
right.
incentives buying more.
Yeah,
43 for that,
For 5?
for 5. And
And
then
then-
1 for 1,100. And knowing full well next year that these 3 items
9,700.
are gonna be added back into the budget for 25, 26. So we stay, this is the course you've chosen, let's stay on that course.
31,700.
Well, they should go for the must-haves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You do a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3.
What was the other tables, trash cans, and,
That's in the
That's pool.
wrong, that's pool, Mayor, you need to go up to,
oh, sorry,
the top.
my bad.
Yep, that one, the 4,000.
Which one, this one?
Yep.
So we're adding how much to that?
Roughly 13.
no, that's 9,700.
9,700, thank you.
So it'd be 31,700 and I'm sorry,
13.
13,700. I was looking at the park programs.
Okay.
All right,
and
that
then-
leaves us, we've got
and
money
you're-
left
And you're
that we
adding
can save.
At least until
tables,
garbage
ADA
cans,
January.
picnic
tables,
tables and ADA tables,
and
trash cans.
trash. Okay. You got 10-8, where did you want to put that?
Thank you.
Or out to capital improvement,
Parks, capital.
parks capital improvement, yes.
Which we're gonna decide on, in January, right?
Well, was it transferred out of
Something comes up.
total or transferred out of
Hopefully not.
parks?
Well, put Parks Money Market to the right of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do the transfer out here,
No, it would be yeah, Parks.
parks, right?
Well, you
Not
could do it
the
in either one, but let's do it in Parks, just,
whole- That was 10,840.
no,
Yeah.
that's, yeah, that's
Money
right,
market,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Parks Money Market.
And I'll get you a little more in interest as well.
Okay. Let's move on, since we're killing each other here. I apologize.
This is the favorite topic.
Makes an
No,
interesting
it's
YouTube
just-
video.
What's that?
Makes for an interesting YouTube video.
Deb, anything for the financial report?
No, other than I had Ryan include a revised report from the one I sent you
Yeah.
last week to take that $11,000 negative out of there, in the expense, just so you can see a true picture of where you're at. That was the dog park fence transfer, and it was in the wrong place. So I
That's
fixed
okay.
it.
Questions for Deb? Ryan, vandalism report.
This sheet is reflected in the green line up there as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he
I-
updated this one.
I updated this one. So.
Vandalism report. John, no, Leone.
Nothing to report.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Mayor's report, there's something going
Yeah, so I
on.
have an update on the DCEO grant for Lions Park. Our senators, handler got back to us and said that they are being told the DCEO, from the DCEO, that the funds are still at the Governor's Office of Management and Budget. They're awaiting bond release. After they okay the project, the city will receive a notice of state award that will need to be assigned and turned back in. From there, the director of DCEO and legal team sign off on the project, and DCEO generates a grant agreement. They state this process could take up to a few months to complete. They will continue to push on their end, as well as suggest that our grant manager reach out for real-time updates periodically, and that's kind of where we're at. So the answer is, it's still in process.
This is for the walking path in Lions Park.
That's correct.
Correct.
And keep waiting.
But it sounds good. It sounds like,
Right, so that's why I said it's not good or bad, it's just
Yeah.
simply
Yeah.
an update that it's
Yeah.
still in
It'll take some
process. Eventually, we should see the money. So once it gets approved, who knows how long it takes them to cut the check,
We didn't budget to do that this
But-
year, did we?
excuse me?
There's nothing in the budget for that.
No, there was no match for this one.
Yeah.
This was I think it was part of Rebuild America, or Rebuild Illinois funds that the senator was able to get earmarked for the city park.
Did, but I mean, there's nothing in here.
any questions for the mayor?
While you're older.
Ryan, do you have anything?
My report is,
As submitted?
as submitted. Just
think that was a hint.
real quick, eggnog jog, we had 51 participants.
That's great. First year. Good.
And then we had our first Conchas and Cocoa on Saturday from 2 to 5. 2 to 5 was too long. 2 to 2:45 was perfect. 3 to 5 was a little slow. Big thanks to the Moose Lodge and Brown Bear for allowing us to use some of their food serving equipment. And then new program went live on the 7th, the ESL program. So that'll be kicking off in January.
Okay.
Or not.
New business.
I do have one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. It has to do with the Milky Way Park pit and pump and all that work that needs to be
Yes,
done out there.
thank you.
That will be a request, because I know we need to get that done if we're going to increase our activity out there. So that will be a request of the council when we do the budget workshop to be financed through the General Capital Improvement Fund, where the ARPA funds are at currently.
right.
So you will get a
Thank you.
piece of that.
Thank you,
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
So
I am not
ARPA,
frustrated
If
with
I
you,
have
Deb.
anything to do
Deb,
with
I am
it,
not
you will.
frustrated with you.
So
It's
just-
not
I
you.
know.
just to be clear, ARPA funds are permitted to be used in this case because that is water sewer infrastructure.
Yes.
And so in order to free up some money for parks, let's try and use that money out.
Well, and we
of
have
that
money
fund.
left over from one of the projects, right? It didn't,
Right now, we have a balance remaining of, well, depends on the broadband. With the broadband taken out, we're at, about 140,000 left
Okay.
in there, so.
all right, new business.
That was new business.
Okay, that's it. Next meeting, yes, Mayor.
Are we gonna discuss
Oh.
this?
That was just we
I know.
wasn't on the agenda.
For you to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so under new business, you can mention,
Oh, okay.
you can mention.
Yeah, so that's the first draft for the, survey. Might be some spelling errors. It's been a little, hectic over the last 2 weeks since we last met. Feel free to review it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.
We can discuss this at our next meeting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I recommend an
Yep.
agenda item for next meeting to discuss in detail.
All right, which, that next meeting is January 15th. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Scott? Lori, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you so much
Oh,
for your
oh.
patience. Thank you for your patience. Jesus, sorry. As I go on a 10-minute
Good night.
rant about budgeting and
I really thought this was gonna be a 10-minute,